Kevin Ayers was an English musician and singer and songwriter who was a member of the Canterbury Scene. So, the Canterbury Scene was a group of bands and individual performers who had a loose connection around Canterbury in Kent, in England, and had a kind of similarity of philosophy and music. This was in the late 60s and early 70s, and it has connections to the hippie psychedelic kind of music that was had come about a little bit earlier in the 60s, and also to jazz rock in particular, and so jazz rock fusion, and is often considered to be a subgenre of progressive rock. It also featured a very open and revolving set of characters and band names, such that some of these people kind of went round and they'd often kind of turn up at somebody else's gig and end up playing and that sort of thing. It was very kind of amicable and open in that sense. So Kevin Ayers was a founding member of the band Soft Machine. In 1969, he left and started a solo career. He released 15 solo albums, the last of which was in 2007, and he died peacefully in 2013. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was Kevin Ayers' first solo album, and the story is that he left Soft Machine and was retiring from music. In fact, what had happened is Soft Machine had been on an extended tour opening for Jimi Hendrix. And Kevin had sold his bass at the end of this tour to the bassist in the Jimi Hendrix Experience and was planning to give up doing music entirely. And then Jimi Hendrix gave him a Gibson acoustic guitar on the condition that he kept writing songs. So he did. And this album was written in a small London flat, but then it was recorded at Abbey Road, and it overlaps with the period of time when the Beatles were recording at Abbey Road, recording the studio, the album Abbey Road. And also, I believe that Syd Barrett, famously from Pink Floyd, was also there for some of it, but also understand that his condition wasn't necessarily very good at this point in time. So, what I normally do with these reviews is I try and give a mixture of three things, which are context, some stuff about the album and how it came about, and anything that's interesting to me, some description of the music, and then some opinion. Not necessarily all in that order, but and for a lot of albums, the context is basically what I've just looked up in half an hour or so myself, because it's new to me. Although this album is new to me, I think I would claim that I understand the context of this album quite a lot better than I do for many of the albums that I'm reviewing, in that I have listened to quite a lot of progressive rock and I know of the Canterbury Scene quite well. So the names that are involved in this album, and it's kind of significant that although at this point Kevin has left Soft Machine, there's actually members of Soft Machine playing here for him, and there are members of Caravan, which is the other kind of major linchpin band of the Canterbury Scene here. So the names that particularly jump out at me on the list are Robert Wyatt and Hugh Hopper. There's a guy called Mike Ratledge, who I know less about. And then there's just more of them, and there's some people who are on the tracks who are on the deluxe edition, who are lots more from Caravan particularly, who are on there. So it's quite a significant album. It's got quite a significant number of people involved. It's quite different sets of people in different tracks. So let's get into some of the description. So I would definitely say the focus here is on kind of what you might think of as folky hippie kind of stuff. So it's mostly acoustic feel. There is electric guitar in here and electric instruments, but they have this kind of light fantasy and songs about the mundane, and it's all kind of imbued with this innocence and naivety, which was one of the major features of the Canterbury scene in general. So it kind of reminds me of sunshine and summer dresses and meadows and that sort of thing. And that's definitely the kind of atmosphere that they're after creating here. There are some unusual arrangements. There's actually musically the songs are quite different. There's quite a lot of variety here within that kind of framing idea. He's very particularly used some classical instruments in the mix here. Or pick out organ, cello, and double bass and oboe are listed, but I'm fairly sure I've heard some flute as well in there. Guitar work is mostly acoustic guitar. It is definitely the kind of realm of music where you expect tambourines to turn up, and they do quite a lot in here. Not all of the percussion is drums. Not all the songs have percussion. The last song on the album seems to have, I don't know, 15 acoustic guitars going on at once, and it feels more like a campfire song than anything going on. Musically, it's mostly pretty simple. Some of it is more complex, so it does have kind of relations to the more complex kind of prog elements there. Some of it has got bits of like jam passages, kind of instrumental passages, but they don't feel hugely extended. There is a kind of edge of the jazz rock fusion kind of stuff coming in as well, so a little bit more of that kind of complexity as well, which is, again, as the Canterbury scene was a particular influence in there. But generally, I would say it's more kind of rooted in the idea of hippie and psychedelia than in prog or fusion. And it's the sort of thing that if Syd Barrett had continued, you'd kind of imagine it might be a Syd Barrett's kind of thing. Definitely kind of hearing some of his songs from early Pink Floyd. There's a really similar vibe to a lot of this stuff. So it's, it's kind of in this kind of prog field, and it's a field that I like. I do quite like this album. I wouldn't say it's one of the best albums that I've heard coming out of this scene, but it's definitely quite accessible. Some of the songs may seem a bit twee, and some of that is because time's moved on, and so it sounds a little bit dated. But some of that tweeness, I think, is this kind of studied naivety. So it's kind of deliberately twee in some ways, and it works. It has an atmosphere of its own with that. There are some nicely written songs in here. There are some songs that have been gone on to be covered by all sorts of other people. I think my favourite song was the song for Insane Times, which has got some nice rhyming, and just the way the words are put together is really good. So I quite enjoyed it. And I'd love to know what you think of it. So if you have heard this album before and it's a favourite, or you've hated it, or you've just come across it and you want to give me your first reaction, anything you want to say about it or about this review, please talk to me through the comments box. That's it from me for now.
She's got a feeling for the spring. I've got another song to sing.